Ever wonder if there was a right or wrong side to batting? Can I tell you there is? Look for the holes on either side of the batting. There should be some clear hole marks. When they needle punched that batting, you want to follow the same pathway as those holes, always. Those holes will be touching the wrong side of your quilt top. If you don't follow that pathway, you'll probably get what's called bearding. That's where tiny pieces of fuzz will show up all over your quilt top, and you don't want that. If you can't see which way the holes are going, use a pin. Take one side, take a pin, close your eyes. Go in and out, just all over. Don't poke yourself though. Seems pretty easy. I'm not needing any resistance at all. Now let's turn it to the other side. Close your eyes again. That right there, you're meeting resistance. You don't want to meet resistance, friends. You want the side that it goes in so smooth, in and out, smooth. That is the right and wrong side of batting. This is the Sewing Channel. I'm Tracy. Enough talking already. Let's get busy learning some quilting tips that just make sense. If you have scraps, most of them are probably cut on the bias, which means pinning at every intersection is a must. After piecing your quilt top together, you may realize you want your quilt to be bigger. Add some simple borders all around. After you've added that border, if you want it even bigger yet, go ahead, add another border around that border. In this next tip, I should have pressed to the dark side on my border, but I didn't. More on that here in a bit. If you find after making a square quilt top that you would like it even longer, add a wide top and a wide bottom border and two skinny borders on the side, all coordinating in the same color. Now I love a pure white thread when I'm free motion quilting, but this time I stepped out of my color box. I had 3 to choose from, and boy was it hard, but I ended up with this one right here. Lately, I have been wall basting with my 505 spray, with my batting down first, and then I put my quilt top over that. So what happened was I ended up unbasting all that and taking it all down because I could totally see that red peeking through, and I just couldn't live with myself if I left it. Tip is, if it happens to you, just fold it back and shave off any of that color. Sometimes you really don't have to do any fancy quilting at all. Sometimes it only takes just some straight lines to really make this quilt pop. I love how it looks on this half square triangle quilt. When you do end up coming across 2 quilt blocks that do not match up on point, slightly adjust the stitch path and keep on moving. And hey, if someone is bold enough to tell you that your points don't match, yeah, no. No. I am so pleased with this multicolor thread. I can't even begin to tell you. Here I started free motion quilting onto the border, and I made the curve the wrong way. I noticed right away that it was very uncomfortable to put the arc up. So I unpicked it, and then I readjusted myself to put the arc going under. When free motion quilting on a border and you're coming up to a corner, stop what you're doing, take the quilt out and draw the way you would like to see it, put it back in your machine, and then continue sewing. That tip alone, just drawing out the corner for yourself ahead of time, may take all of the anxiety out of coming up onto that corner. I decided on some colorful feathers around the white border. I really love how it turned out. I didn't realize how much I would enjoy seeing all of those rainbow colors being stitched as I free motion quilted this quilt. In the top border area and the bottom border area, I decided on some nice big swirls. As a side note, I was well aware that I could see all of my mistakes with this colorful thread that I used. I mean, I've been able to hide it for a while with the white, but now with the color, not so much. I use gauze backing on all of the quilts that I make for myself or any of my family members. I always get asked about durability of the double gauze. Now let me tell you, it is durable. This quilt right here has been washed probably more than 50 times now because it is the most comfortable quilt to lay with. So far, I've only purchased my double gauze from Joann's, and it is called Bubble Gauze, B-U-B-B-L-E gauze. So if you would like to take advantage of it, check out Joann's. Take notice of the nice stretch that's within this gauze. To ensure that no puckering occurs when we attach it to the quilt top, give it a good hot press all over. To attach the two pieces together, I lay the quilt top right side up, and then I lay right side down the gauze backing, and then I sort of lift up the sides and I pin all along the edge only, being sure to leave a huge gap so that I don't have to take out any pins as I sew these two together. It is really nice when you don't have to stop and take pins out as you sew. Once the quilt has been all trimmed and turned right side out, manipulate with your fingers that edge seam and roll it out. You can either clip it or you can press it with a hot iron or both. I always put a nice top stitch all around the entire quilt when I make a quilt this way. Now remember, I quilted that quilt top separately from the backing. We need to attach the two pieces somehow once we have our quilt all together. I attached by following the inner border, and I tacked down 9 different spots around the entire quilt randomly. I sure hope that my quilting tips today made total sense to you. I have linked part 1 right here on the screen if you didn't get a chance to watch it yet. If you've watched part 1 already, then I've put another video right up here on the screen that you are sure to learn something new in. Until next time on the Sewing Channel, take care.